Okay, so some time ago I made a Excel spreadsheet to be used to track reminders, and I made a YouTube video of it, and since I did that I've actually modified the spreadsheet and I've added some extra functionality, and the purpose of this video is to explain those extra features that I've added. Okay, so the first new feature is when you click the sort by file button, it prompts you for a letter of the alphabet. I'll enter the letter T, and then when you hit the enter key it jumps you down to the T files. This basically just helps save a whole bunch of scrolling when you've got a really long list of reminders and the ones near the end of the alphabet are really a long way down the list. Okay, so the next feature I've added is a check to see whether any dates have been entered incorrectly. So let me just sort by date to clean it up. If, for example, this date had been entered incorrectly, had not been typed in as a proper date, then this cell over here will say more than 1 year, but in fact that's a little bit of a misleading statement, because in fact it's not a proper date at all. So what you'll notice is it puts a 1 in this column over here, and in fact if there's any kind of garbage entered in the date that's not a real date, it'll always enter a 1 in this column. If you look at the cell, you'll be able to see that there's actually a formula in there which checks whether this column over here has any errors in it. And then at the top of this column over here there's a sum formula which tallies all of the errors in this column down here. So even if you've got many hundreds of reminders and you don't have them all displayed on your screen, this cell over here will calculate the number of errors that you've got, and then if there are any errors at all, this red error message will come up here. It is actually the formula in this cell that automatically gets copied down into this entire column whenever the sort by date button is clicked. So at the end of the day you can just ignore the gray text here. If you see red text with a number, then it's a warning that you've got some errors in one of your dates, and you can scroll down this column to see for the red one that indicates where the error is. But apart from that you can just ignore the stuff up here and also down this column, but don't delete it, otherwise you'll disrupt that checking formula. I apologize if the video is a bit choppy. I have to stop now and then because that cooing or moaning you hear in the background is actually baby Nicholas. He's on my knee and he's making a noise, but it's almost midnight and he won't go to sleep, so I'm making this video. Okay, so what I've been telling you about so far have pretty much just been some minor tweaks, but this next thing I'm going to show you is probably the most significant change from the previous spreadsheet in terms of adding functionality, and I find this to be a significant benefit, but I do appreciate that although it's going to work well for lawyers, it's probably not going to work for everyone, but let me explain it anyway. So you'll notice that down over here there's a new tab called Reminder Generation. At the top here you enter in the file name. So I'll just enter in the file name and number, and then if, for example, you're doing a plaintiff motor vehicle accident claim over here, you can put the date of the accident in there, and then what you might have noticed as I typed that in and pushed enter, all of these dates in here got calculated according to this date as a reference point, and then these numbers are basically used to calculate these dates. This is 1 day after that one, this is 10 days after that one. So this is essentially if I've got the date of the accident and I want to set myself a whole bunch of reminders using this date as a reference point and these numbers as a indication of how long the reminder should be after the reference point. I can of course change this number over here and it'll recalculate that one. Over in this column it brings in the title that I typed in at the bottom, and it also brings in the information about it being a motor vehicle accident and the date over here. So if you look at the formula for this column, sorry, for this cell, it's actually over here, and you can basically figure out how I've made the formula. And then as well the description of the reminder also has a formula, because I'm including a bunch, the AND function and a bunch of other functions, so I get a detailed reminder that tells me the date of the accident. I want to go 60 days after the accident. It calculates the 60 days and gives me all the details about the reminder. So basically these probably won't work for you. You'd have to make your own set of reminders, but if you do have a bunch of reminders that should be calculated compared to a reference date over here, then you can modify it as you need to. Then to add these all to the reminder spreadsheet at once, I basically copy and paste them. Now don't select this column, that's just a reference number that shouldn't be taken to the reminder spreadsheet. So you take the date, the file name, and the reminder description, hit copy, go to the to-do list, go to the bottom of the to-do list, then into the date column, click paste, values. You don't want to copy in the formulas from the reminder generation sheet, you just want to copy in the raw values, and when you do that, it'll take what was previously a formula and it'll just turn it into plain text. Then you need to copy and paste in your color and your day columns. So you just hit copy, and then got to select your full list, Control V to paste, and now it's brought in a bunch of the reminders. Sorry, it's pasted in the formulas for the day and the color, and then when you sort by date, it'll merge those with your data that you had before. So that's basically just an easy way to bring in a whole long list of reminders if you typically have a bunch of milestones that you want to check or that you want to be reminded about, all with reference to a base reference date. So this is for motor vehicle accidents in British Columbia. Probably not going to be useful for many people, but I've hopefully demonstrated how you can code your own set of custom reminders based on a sort of benchmark date, and then copy and paste them into your reminder spreadsheet. Okay, so that's pretty much everything. I'll upload the revised spreadsheet to LegalTree so you can download it from there. Again, there's a link in the description, and hopefully this spreadsheet, new and improved, is helpful to some of you. Okay, bye.